So I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, there's just a lot of stuff that could be happening. It could really affect this year. And she didn't really go into too much detail. And I was like, ah, so I
Yeah,
don't know what that means.
I think
Hence why
that's
we're rocking out the masterminds, I suppose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect timing.
Yep.
Yeah,
all
a lot
right.
of our listings we've seen, I mean, besides last week being awful cold, we've been seeing a lot more traffic going through our open houses. Like the last 2 weeks, out of the agents that I talked to, they've been averaging between like 10 to 15 couples per open house.
Dang,
Um,
that's good.
yeah, and these open houses are not like fresh on the market at all. Okay. They've been sitting on 20, 30 days and stuff like that too. And they're still drumming up traffic, guys.
Good.
So I think the sweet spot still is right around that 300 to 400 price range. If you're gonna sit in one, I think that's where the traffic's gonna absolutely come in for you. So
All right. No, I agree, Viet. But yeah, you guys, let's start. 10:03. Let's get the ball rolling. You guys, thanks for everybody coming by. My name is Damian Trofimovich. I'm with Trofimovich Group, and I'm going to be one of the moderators today, just kind of help things moving forward. The goal again of these masterminds, just cover topics, two, three topics. We try to get to that three topics so that we can get little nuggets from everywhere. This is you guys, this we want everybody to be whoever's here, whether you're brand new agent or you've been in the business 20 years, like we want this to be interactive. If you have questions or you're struggling with something, raise your hand. Or if we covered something that was like an aha moment but you want to go deeper on it, raise your hand. We're not scary. The goal is here just generally help everybody grow. So if you're not asking questions, you're not really kind of trying to figure out things for yourself. So just want to encourage engagement within here. Otherwise, it'll be just us keep talking, and we can talk for days here. I can tell you that there's few people. So you guys, please keep your microphones mute. A couple housekeeping items, unless you're talking, and because I know one of you will get a phone call in the middle, and it will ruin someone's thought when they're talking. And then videos of course preferred, but if you're in a toilet, don't turn your video on, and we'll kind of get the ball rolling. So today's three topics is talk about hosting memorable client appreciation events. So just want to hear from people who've done it, or maybe you did something and failed, like tell us. All right. Leveraging inside sales agents. That could be VAs, that maybe you have somebody in house. If somebody's looking to take that next step, let's talk about that. And then last one is, I think the big one where we can all should probably double down right now, is how to maximize referrals from past clients. So when I hear strategies, what are you doing? What works consistently for you year over year? And what's maybe your plan for the next couple months here that you're going to be doing? So let's start with the first topic, hosting client appreciation events. Who's here done them consistently, or maybe done one recently and you had some success? Please share. All right, Bob.
Yeah, so we do a boat cruise on the St. Croix River every September. We took a little bit of break from that during the COVID years, but we brought it back with great success. So that's one of the things that we do every year. Basically, send that invite. We start in the first part of July and start cultivating the invitations and getting people out there. And usually we're on the boat kind of the last part of September. So it's a great event for us because we have our clients there captive for about 3 hours, and they just really appreciate the fact that we took time and money to invite them out for a nice night on the river. So that's been really successful for us. It's not the cheapest thing to do. However, what Jennifer and I have noticed from it is that we definitely keep those relationships with our past clients in momentum. So that's been a great event for us.
How many people do you invite, Bob?
Jennifer, the boat can handle just shy of, I think, 300 people. So we're usually trying to get about 250 on the boat. So it's
And
really comfortable. The boat has 2 different levels on it. So 250 people is kind of the sweet spot. We've realized with that.
just past clients are also like vendors or
For
anything.
anybody that if we're actively working with them, they're also invited. But mainly kind of our VIP clients who have, bought a house with us, referred a house, maybe bought multiple homes through us. They're definitely the ones that we're targeting very aggressively with our invites. So yeah.
How far
Sweet.
back do you go in your client list? Do you go and pick up people who maybe moved 8 years ago and you haven't done much with, or? Can you
Yeah, well,
talk about that?
fortunately, like you, Cheryl, a little bit too, we ping our client database once a month at a minimum, so we are constantly staying in front of them as much as we, trying to continue to cultivate our relationships with our clients. But also our goal, and we've been really working on our database the last couple of years to get it super tight. There's been times, yeah, and if you have an old database and you haven't cultivated with your clients and you're going in to see if they've made a move or whatever, it can be pretty humbling if you haven't done it in a while. So we, we're continually refining our invite lists, and they're getting our monthly newsletter as well. So to answer your question, Cheryl, we'll invite somebody back that we sold the house to 26 years ago, and they come, so.
The biggest thing is
Awesome.
reaching out to them and letting them know that we are still in the business. And to come and enjoy a fun night. I mean, people love it. And it's an excuse for us to reach back to people. If they don't come, that's fine, as long as they know that we still care about them and are active. That's all you really care about.
All right. No, 100%. It's the thought behind, even if they don't come, just checking in. You just never know what that conversation can lead to. So, David, I see your hand. What you got?
So every year I've been doing this now probably for, I don't know, 8 years. We skipped in COVID, of course, because we had to, but it's a VIP client appreciation event where we do a photo shoot. So we do it right kind of like the week before Thanksgiving or so. And then I have a photographer friend that she comes and she pretty much donates her time just for the free marketing. And I do the GCS title, which you're familiar with. And I'm a systems guy, if you don't know me. So I have a calendar just created for this event that people can schedule time. It's a 10-minute increment. So every 10 minutes, there's a time slot that someone can book. And it usually sells out in about, I don't know, 3-4 hours, just because it's such a popular event and people look forward to it. So for 3 hours, we have it booked solid, and we've got people waiting on the waiting list. The cool thing about it is like, again, I'm systems. So I have it built out where there's a follow-up system beforehand. And then once they've gotten their pictures, there's a follow-up system afterwards. And it's really easy to get these photos, because then we send them to our clients, but then we also post them on social media. We say, hey, tag us. And the exposure we get just from that is fantastic. And since it got so popular, we only have it laid out to, it's a VIP event. So if you referred us business in the last year, if you've done business with us in the last year, you get first invite. And then if we don't fill up, then we'll open up to others. But usually it fills up very fast.
No, that's awesome. I've seen few groups, and I think, David, kind of when you had people out there. So
yeah,
and timing wise too, it's a great time to do it around holidays or like Thanksgiving.
It is. And people, especially with kids, they hate going to the mall. They hate trying to get in line with Santa. So like, hey, you come here, you got your time reserved. You show up early, get some mimosas. We've got cookies. We got Christmas music, Christmas shows playing. And then just linger around after the pictures. It's people just look forward to this event. And yeah, it's a fun time.
How many people did you say?
So people wise, I don't remember how many people, but we had 36 groups.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Oh, so you had 36 time slots or whatever. Oh, that's cool.
With the systems I've created, that only one person no-showed, and it was because their kid got sick that day and we didn't have time to fill it. So then, we just had some randos just take pictures because why not? Let's have fun.
Awesome, awesome. And roughly, David, what are you all in, quick before we go to Bruce, cost for something like that? Obviously, event, I'm assuming location with GCS, probably free, you work with them, and then photographer sounds like it's free too.
Yep, because I help her with her marketing.
So then, yeah, what do you have left? Really just the food and...
Yeah, and usually we get the loan officer to cover the food. So for me, it's my time, which is money, but then I use my systems to help with the marketing and everything else, and then it's just yeah, really $0 out of my pocket. Besides, sometimes I'll buy special gifts for some of my recently closed clients or whatever. But yeah,
You could
Awesome.
almost do that one a couple times a year, right? Like you could do like the
Valentine's
holiday,
Day.
be like the family photo or whatever in the summer.
I've thought about doing like a Valentine's Day thing, just like for lovers only. I was like, oh, photos after dark, and just kind of have a good time. It just I stopped running a team last year, so now I'm just kind of building it back up again. But it's like people just love it. And again, who doesn't like getting pictures? I get Christmas cards every year from my clients with the pictures they took. So yeah, huge exposure, and we get referrals left and right with those.
Awesome. All right, David. Bruce, thanks, David, for sharing. Bruce, go ahead.
My pleasure.
I just wanted to point out, you guys, if you're just starting out thinking about doing a client appreciation event and you haven't done it, you can look at the massive, like all of our clients type of event, or you can look at maybe your top, what we call A list, or your very, small, maybe 10 to 15 people that are, would give you business anytime, anywhere they hear real estate, they're mentioning your name. And so that's what we've done, the big ones, and we continue to do the big ones, but we also do a VIP event every year. So it's just those top 15 to 20 people. We make it really special because we know we're more than likely going to get a good return from that group for sure.
Great point. You guys don't have to overcomplicate it. Sometimes it is something small. Happy hour, invite few people. It's just those relationships. I think it's just a matter of doing it. And if you haven't done it, put it on the calendar and just go for it. Yeah, you got a hand, 1 minute, and then we'll go next topic.
Got it. Okay, this one might take a little longer. I'll talk about like doing a big one. So typically when we do our client appreciation event, we get about probably 700 to 1,000 people show up, right? Big team events and stuff like that. So, we've done ice rink arenas with photography, Santas. That's a great one. People stay there. When you're doing these client appreciation events, guys, keep in mind you want to give them an activity that they're going to stick around. Doing client appreciation events, that if they're just going to take a swag item and walk away, there's no relationship building behind it. It's all about that follow-up and building up before you set that stage up. If you set that stage and you can keep them entertained during the process, that's where you're going to get them to stay. Our last event that we did, we had about probably 700-800 people show up. That was at a picnic. We had live music, bouncy houses, we have volleyball, we have bag tournaments, we had food, drinks, exotic cars that came in. We had a couple Lamborghinis and everything like that came in that people got to kind of showcase, take pictures around, swag items for the kids. And that was about a 4 or 5 hour event, and people stayed the whole time, all the way into almost the cleanup time. But it was a very fun event. Keep in mind when you're doing these big events, if you can get the whole family involved, then it's, they're going to shoot it out to their clients, their friends, family, everything. And we encourage, it's not just our clients that we're inviting. We encourage our clients to invite their friends, family, and everybody, because that is how you build your book of business. It's not just that one person. It's everybody that they know and that they can touch too on your behalf. So.
No, great points, Viet. And you only brought 2 of your Lamborghinis, not the third one?
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't mine, buddy.
All right, just kidding. All right, all right, guys. No, great points. And if you guys haven't done it and just want to shoot me a message, shoot David a message, shoot Viet a message if you just want to get some ideas. Next topic is inside sales agents, right? Is there anybody who has someone that's maybe already in their part, you know, in-house, or maybe you've used the VAs, maybe use just a separate company. There's a pair lead companies that call. So just want to get, you know, and yeah, if anybody has maybe questions or maybe you thought about implementing it, just share a little bit what works for you and your business. So maybe for those who haven't done it, might get some pointers to where to, you know, where to head, or maybe where to start based on where their level they're at with their leads or business. Anyone using
always-
UVAs?
Yeah, so we have a current VA currently right now. And guys, if you haven't used a VA, they're extremely cheap. Okay? Most VAs and stuff like that, it's gonna run you between like $4 to $5 an hour. Okay? Give and take, it's probably gonna run you, I would say, between $15,000 to $20,000 a year. Now, it all depends on what you're using your ISA for. Um, we use our ISA for marketing purposes. We also use another ISA for calling circle prospecting, especially if you have your listings. You know, your ISA, if you don't want to take the time and stuff like that to call for your open houses, and now you can have your ISA call 200 homes in that particular area. How powerful is it when you're doing a listing presentation to go to that seller and say, hey, I'm door knocking, I'm building up relationships around this particular area, but I'm also having my ISA call 200 homes and actually inviting people and telling people that your listing is brand new to the market. So there's different ways that you can use the ISA, and it's very cheap, and your ROI behind it is extremely impactful. So
Viet, for those that have never used one, don't even know where to start, where would somebody find a VA?
so there's a bunch of different companies right now. I know inside EXP there's a vendor that's called Sphere Rocket. Typically you sign up with them. It's a $3,000 or $5,000 enrollment fee, they call it. But after that enrollment fee, then it becomes actually just a monthly, you know, expense for you. It could be $4, it could be $5 an hour at that point. But it's a one-time sign up. They find that VA, they interview them, depending on what your criteria is that they want you to match up for. And then you go through the interview process. If you like that VA, then you continue with it. If the VA doesn't work out, they'll find you a different one too as well. So.
Yeah, great
Yeah,
point.
no.
And another thing I want to add on is if somebody doesn't want to, like, you know, commit to like a big, you know, like a VA or employer, there's a lot of companies, again, they market to, not market, but they lead generate your pay-per-click leads, or maybe like Conversion Monster. I've used them before when I first came in, and it's pretty much you pay like a monthly fee, 200 something bucks, and then per every lead it's like $5, something like that, and then they nurture that lead for a year or 2 years. But I think that's a good way to get in. Another companies like Power ISA that can also work your leads. And then the next step obviously would be something like what Viet's talking about is you know, a VA, and then the next one after would be like actual in-house salaried with commissions based. But I think for someone who, if you haven't done it yet, things to consider is like, what's your database? Is there even enough leads to work in a database? Because if you have, you know, 50, if you have in your whole database 200 leads, you can work those leads yourself easy. But if you're now getting into thousands and one, that's where it might be a good place to come, you know, start plugging that in. Just something to think about. Joey.
Yeah, so I wanted to chime in on Katie's response. We've worked with Cyberbacker for about a year now, and what's interesting is that they don't do calling for us. They can do calling, but one of the things we've had them really help with is just engagement, because you know how you get overwhelmed with like comments on Facebook posts and stuff like that, and sometimes it's almost hard to manage. And so they have helped with that, and just making sure we're on point with that type of stuff. Plus, we've had them message out people. Like if let's say we are going to invite someone to something, well, we could have them do direct messaging. So it's more like, it's not the calling side of things. It'd be like the text messaging side. We had them you know, there's a system called Launch Control, which we use for a little bit. We don't use it right now, mostly because it was overwhelming. And Launch Control is like a mass texting platform, if anybody's familiar with it. And so you can just like blast out, you know, 1,000 text messages. But you know, then you're getting all the responses. So if you don't have somebody like on there managing that engagement, it's a waste of time, right? So I think that's what's the slippery slope with like the ISA and the VA model or setup is you have to be prepared to either have the leads or like manage the business you end up getting and like the back and forth interaction. But we've really loved working with Joy at Cyberbacker. So it's a key one. I think David, I think you second. I don't know if you seconded that or if you've used them or I have used them in the past.
Yeah, I've
No,
used
I
them
don't-
actually.
oh,
I was
that-
I was with Kit Fusil, which you know, and so I've known them for years. Yeah,
Yeah.
good company.
All right, guys. Any questions? Do you guys, anybody maybe wanted to start, you know, plugging that into your systems? Anybody have any questions before we go to the next topic? This is a great opportunity to ask questions. All right, Bruce, go ahead.
Not really a question, guys. I just wanted to just say anytime you're thinking of an expense like this, even if it's $4 an hour or whatever, you know, you don't have to think about what it costs you for the year. You can try something out for a month or a couple months and, you know, and hold it accountable, right? And then that way, if it's working, great, you can go on for another couple months. You don't have to look at the whole annual budget for what it might cost for adding a VA or two. So, you know, break it down, whether it's monthly or quarterly, and hold it accountable.
Yeah, yeah. Great point, Kelly. All right, well, next topic, I think it's an important one, is just, you know, getting referrals from past clients. You know, kind of, I think if we all look back at our business, especially those who've been in the business for a few years, probably the most part of your business comes probably from what your referrals, right? Past clients, and that's the easiest, I guess, leads you can ever get, because there's so much trust built in there if you get the referral. And your name is mentioned. So who's here? You know, I know a lot of you guys here can probably plug in some good ideas to those who have, you know, maybe haven't implemented them. But who's, you know, do you have a process in place to get referrals from past clients? Please share anything that you've done or do. Client appreciation events is a great one. That's one of them, right? So we already talked about that. That could be one of 5 things you do throughout the year. But what else? What else, guys?
I think one thing that's worked real well for us is our monthly newsletters. And those newsletters, we're giving market updates. We're bringing them back to our YouTube channel. You know, one thing that we've noticed with interest rates, you know, coming off of those 3% and 4% rates, it's harder right now to get those past client moves and those referral moves as much as we used to get them. But we're continuing to kind of plug and plug and plug. But one thing that we notice is when we send our newsletter out, we get engagement back. I'll give you an example. We sent our newsletter out late last week. Literally about 20 minutes later after it got sent out, we received a phone call for a listing appointment that I believe Jennifer's going on today from a past client that she sold the house to back in 2005. So that consistency with the newsletter piece for us has been really good. And we use Coffee and Contracts to get the actual kind of newsletter content piece. We use Spar for our market updates that we provide via video that they link to through the newsletter. And then we also include our reviews as well as kind of our current listings and what we've sold in that newsletter as well. So that's probably been one of our best tools, as well as just having a regular checkup with our past client base. And that will naturally kind of generate some referrals for us as well.
Yeah, and you guys, newsletter is one of the easiest things. I know Cheryl does it. I know Ann. I know I do it. Once you have a template in place, you just plug in the new information every month. It takes about probably 30 minutes to get that newsletter ready. And now you have ChatGPT. So if you guys want to take an article from Spar, you can post it in ChatGPT and just say, hey, can you please summarize this in the simple terms that I can share with my clients? They'll give you a nice little paragraph that you can attach, because nobody's going to read new listings, this. Nobody gives a F about that. They want to understand what does it mean to them. So if you can ask ChatGPT a question, what is this, and explain what this means for my seller or buyer clients, it will nicely summarize everything and save you time, like even thinking about it. Just simple little prompt on that. But yeah, newsletters is a great way. So now we have client appreciation events. We get monthly newsletters. Sounds like, Bob, you mentioned also phone calls as well. I would say probably good to do quarterly phone calls to your clients. So, and that's again, just simple checking in. And I have some scripts I can post in here for what do you say when you call past clients? What else do you guys have? Anybody else does something different? I know, Cheryl, you've done like little parties after closings. And you still doing that, or are you pausing on that?
No, we do that. We offer our clients a housewarming party. And we do them at this time of the year when it hasn't been quiet this year, but usually January, February are a little quieter. So we'll call the people and we tell them when we're closing that we'll have a party at your house. We look forward to coming and seeing you living in your house. And we offer them a party for 20 of their friends. We bring the food and set it up and bring beverages, and we don't take their friends' names and phone numbers or anything. They send out their invites, but we spend a few hours talking with their friends and family, and we always get business out from that. So it's pretty inexpensive. I get the food at Trader Joe's and set up a nice make the food the same every time, so I know what to buy, set up charcuterie and veggies, and get some wine and beer and some soft drinks, and it's quick.
Awesome. Thanks, Cheryl. And you guys, I shared a couple things, like a script for you guys in the files, and then there's another thing I'll talk about here in a little bit. Easy CMA strategy too you can do. But Joey, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think so, Cheryl, I think that was that from, did you get, and maybe you just copied this, or I remember learning that from 7 Levels. Was that a 7 Levels thing?
This was, a long, long time ago. I went to a seminar, so I don't remember who it was.
Okay, well, either way, one of the other 7 Levels ideas, I thought that maybe was from there, but he talks about when we're talking about referrals, he's saying, what I love is if you want to get referrals, give referrals. So his big thing is like, he came up with a thing of like, all right, well, I want to get a referral today. I'm going to make a goal to give 10 referrals or something like that. And then what he would do is he would like scour Facebook, and for all the people on Facebook that are like, hey, I'm looking for a painter, it's like, okay, cool. Like, make sure to reach out to that person and be like, hey, I got the best painter or whatever. And I thought that was just such a really good way to look at it, to say, all right, well, I'm going to come from a giving heart, and then eventually that will just come back to you. And it reminds me of at EXPCon in Miami, if anybody went, when Jesse Itzler spoke at this thing, and he talked about the 3 C's that he tries to do every day. And he says it completely transformed his business. And I just love it so much. It's compliment, console, and congratulate. And so he just makes it a point to do at least one of those to one person. And the rule is it has to be either face-to-face or on the phone. So he specifically has to try to find someone to compliment, congratulate, or console, and all 3 of them. And he says it completely transformed his business, basically because he's just reaching out and connecting with people, right? Like on a really, really deep level. It's genuine. And so when you think about it, like that's so digestible. 3 things a day, 3 people a day. Like if we did that, he just said that it just completely kind of just changed the way he did business. And so 7 levels of communication is a great, I think the tagline is something like get unlimited referrals or something like that. And Cheryl, your thing just kind of reminded me of that, because I think he talks about housewarming parties in there too. And so it's just a cool way to get business from your people. Because it doesn't have to be past clients. If you're newer, you don't have any past clients, that's easy to do. You could host a housewarming party for anybody, right? And it's kind of a cool thing. So I love that.
Nice, Joey. All right, anybody else? I know a great point that his speech was amazing. You know, Jesse's speech. I tried to find it after, you know, the recording of it because I wanted to share with family and friends, but I couldn't find it. It was one of the best probably speeches I ever heard. But and a big thing out of it is like do everything with soul, and I think it's just the care, you know, caring about the people. But you know, I think it's like sometimes too, it's not overcomplicated. It's again, just phone calls can go a long way right now in January, February. Call people you know, and just and or your past clients, and just whether they bought 6 months ago, 3 months ago, or 2 years, like just check in and you know and hey, or you know, if you didn't, we talked, Bob said, like if you didn't, somebody bought in 2005 and they haven't reached out to them since, you could just say, hey, you know, I drove by your neighborhood and thought of you, how are you doing? That's a great simple one, just like you thought of them because you were in the area, a simple icebreaker. And then again, that I posted a script like what questions can you ask, and it's like, you know, I like this line. The reason for my call is I've had several friends and clients reach out with questions about the market and made me think of you. Like, is there anything, because that's our value, right? Is the real estate, the big part. So it's like, so I was wondering what real estate questions do you have I could help with today? I know you might not be looking to move, but I'm just here to help and be a resource. And then see what they have. And if they don't, you know, then just at the end, you can ask for referrals while you're on the phone. And that's even for me, a reminder, I have it on my list to call all past clients by mid-February. So I just have to go through and just keep making calls.
Another
it's
thing
not
to
fun.
do is to let them know they've been in their house for 5 years, that you have a list of contractors. Say, if you need anything like a plumbing or, you know, a sheetrocker, if you're gonna do your basement, that you're their resource too for giving referrals. It's an excuse and it's a good thing to call, like with value.
Do you have a vendor list, Jennifer?
Yeah, yeah.
You do.
We
Yeah.
do, yes.
Do you like have it on your website, or do you guys send it to people?
We send it to people because it changes often, you know, we'll always be meeting new people, but, and we do a vendor of the month in our newsletter. But that's a really good, easy conversation to have. And then they could say, you know, it leads to like, well, we're not sure we want to finish the basement. We may want to move or whatever, but sometimes it gets awkward if you haven't talked to somebody in a while. Like, well, what do I say? They haven't heard from me. And I always call and find out how their house is after they move in. I had a closing on Friday and I'm going to call today and just say, how's it going? You know, anything you need from me. And then in 6 months and a year. And then you feel like you have that relationship kind of built, the structure for future conversations.
And the one thing just to add on, because it just came up to my mind, I've had people where because I was so consistent with newsletters, like these guys never respond, they never say anything, and he literally said, you know, because he was because I sent out a once a month, there's a letter, not letter, but a mailer you can send up. It's like the most interesting postcard, and it just says fun facts on it. But he was like, because you were always sending me cards, you know, I just thought of you right away, and it's again, it's like the you do little touches throughout, and it's always you're always gonna be top of mind. The other big one is just back to what Joey was saying, add all your clients on social media and then love on them, right? Like, and they, because you know, whenever they post going through something, you actually, I have a file, I'll have to, Angela might have had it, but there's a whole thing of what you can do as far as like if you saw somebody on vacation at a certain, it's like a goal that's like 3 levels above and beyond. But let's say you saw like right now Kelly and Bruce are, you know, at a Marriott in Arizona, you know exactly which one. How fun would be to surprise them with a bottle of champagne in that when they come home because of their own anniversary. Like when you think about that, and if you like, if they're, I've done it before where I just my friends said they're having a baby on the Facebook. What did I do? I sent them a little baby gift through Amazon, $20, you know, but I know nobody else probably done it, even their friends. So little things like that, or sympathy, right? If you saw somebody passed away or whatever, send flowers. Like again, it's $50. You don't even have to show up, but that little touch, they're gonna remember that for a long time. Go ahead.
Just piggybacking on that, Damien, loving on your clients. We have a form, we put it in the chat here that we try to get most of our clients to fill out. It just asks them, you know, what's your favorite pizza? What's your favorite drink? What's your favorite, you know, snack? What's your favorite color? You know, what's your favorites, right? What's your favorite coffee? And that way when it's on their birthday, you can send them, you know where they work, right? You can drop something off where they work, a cup of coffee. You can send a pizza to their house one night on their birthday, whatever. Just little things that like make them feel really special and that you paid attention and you really know them. Really creates a deeper connection as well. So we posted that in the chat for you guys.
I love that. You know, Kelly, I think it's so cool because the more it's funny because Damien and well, I think we're all kind of talking about the same thing that I think is so awesome is that the more you know your people and the more you can give back to them and you know follow them, share their stuff. I mean, that's what's so cool about social media. I think social media gets a bad rap and I hate it as much as I love it, but I think if you use it as a tool to find these things then you have a reason to reach out to your people and like you have a reason to share their stuff. Like go to their events. I mean, how many times do you guys see on social media your past clients or your friends hosting like a whatever a certain event or something, you know, go to it. Like there's your referral source, right? I mean, it's like you can, and then again, going back to even using a VA, right? You can have your VA scour. If you don't want to go on Facebook, social media, you know, that's a total, that was going back to the VA thing, but have them find, oh, hey, I want you to find all my past clients. What are they doing? What's their events they're hosting? I mean, I'm going to go to that. And then same thing with the vendors. That's why Jennifer, when we were talking about that, it's go to support your vendors and support them with referrals or support them with by going to their different things. I think that's, plus it makes our job more fun because then you can go hang out and party with them.
I think that's a great point, Joey. It's not a one-way street where we expect them to come to us all the time, right? We got to go to them. We got to support them as much as we expect them to support us.
For sure. You guys, any questions? Anybody who maybe didn't implement it, you know, you want to implement something, or just in general, you know, we're kind of got through pretty good solid that on the 3 topics, but if we want to, we can go deeper more on each one. So I want to kind of ask for everyone who's on the call here, what, you know, let's see some questions.
I have a question about the newsletter. Is that just email or do you send out a paper copy and an email, Bob, or anybody else?
We just send ours out via email. I don't know if we have screen share enabled here or not. I can show you what it looks
You
like.
should be, you should be able to. Yep.
Okay. Go ahead.
We send ours out via email and we've done it for years and years every week.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
So here's an example of our newsletter. It's just called Snyder Snippets. This is our January issue. Goes through, we have an introductory paragraph, which to Damon's point, we use ChatGPT to help us with this. We got some canned articles in here that come from Coffee and Contracts. We have updated market analysis or updated market information. And if you click here, there's a little thumbnail. Jennifer and I share each month who does the video, who does the updates. So I did the update this month. So there's a link to our YouTube channel with me kind of deciphering the data there from the market. Emerging trends in the market. Every month there's a home maintenance checklist that they get with our newsletter, which is cool. Just some general questions. Here's some of our listings, some of the stuff that's went under contract. You know, there's some more here. Here's our trusted vendor of the month, which is one of our painters. And then our most recent 5-star Google ratings we put there. We're always kind of tweaking some of the things in there as well, just for value add. Another thing, guys, too, that we've recently started doing, well, we've been doing it for a while. We started out originally with HomeBot, but you want to be the trusted advisor for your people. So it's really our job to be proactively giving our clients updated home valuations on their house, right? And you might look at that and say, well, God, doing a full CMA would be a lot of work. Well, maybe you do a full CMA for maybe your top 50 people every year. But what we have implemented now is that we have electronic geo farms in our database, but we also have our past clients in there, and they're getting monthly updates from us in a branded version of what their house value is. And Jennifer and I and our team are going into those valuation reports regularly to make sure that they're pretty accurate, right? So that's huge. You're never going to have somebody unsubscribe from a home valuation and equity report on a home that you sold them. So that's another piece that will create, communication or conversation with your clients. And what's kind of cool with our system is we can actually see when they've opened up the report and took a look at it. We don't want to be totally creeping on them and saying, hey, what do you think of your value every month? But at least we know they're looking at it. So for us, that's another impression on them. Our brand's out there again, and we're continuing to assure them that we're their real estate professional.
That might be a really good topic for the future as far as home valuation and kind of like cleaning out your database, because if you keep your database in check, know who the sellers are, know who might be looking to move, or if they have different addresses now. There's so many great systems out there. And the more you clean it up, the easier it's to maintain, just in general, do the proper reach outs. But the other thing, Bob, like you guys, for our newsletter, one thing I think we can add on, same stuff, kind of just different, obviously branding and different kind of maybe flow of things, but add something personal about yourself. People, if you at the end, I like to call it like letter from me or letter from self, and I just say, hey, this month I got married, right? Or we took a vacation to whatever, and show some pictures. Just again, they see you're human, you're not just there for. I know there's people who actually do those letters specifically, like monthly letter of about themselves to their clients, and they just share their life. So you can also do it as a mailer too. It's just kind of brings your clients in as a part of your inner circle. But I think not leave out like little bit like about who you are, what you did. I think people get more engaged because they want to keep following your journey.
Called A Letter from the Heart. Joe Stump.
Yes, yep.
And Joe Stump also did those in-house welcome or the parties. That was his idea too. He was a great coach.
Is Letter from the Heart? So Katie, you had put that. Is that they send that to you, or they send you the content, or no?
No. A letter from the heart is just giving somebody more personal information. Like
Joey, it's what's on your heart, bud. It's
It's on my
your
heart. Wait, I can't just copy and paste something. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
just keep it PG. What's on your heart, but don't send them one of your naked photos, that you're relaxing in a hot tub. But no, letter from you guys, and that's the thing. Like sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone to write something. Like sometimes we might live basic life. You might not think about, but if you look deeper, you might say, you know what, I had a small win, and just share, be vulnerable about that win. Whether it's like, hey, it's something simple. Like if I would write one right now, I could write about like, oh, hey, not drinking for a month, or, and how that affected me, or, or being off social, like there's so many things. But I think all of you have families, you have friends, share your wins, but also share, like I've shared before, really got personal, like about losing, we lost a baby during pregnancy. Like I shared that, and it was like one of those things I, just wanted to know, like just let people know experience and kind of how I got through it. And I had some really great responses. People emailing back and like, I went through the same thing and this, and it was really good conversations. And you think, and I know for a fact that was solidifying our relationships too. But again, I think it's just not overthinking. You just got to do it. It's not going to be perfect. And like anything we kind of talked about, you got to implement, have it on the calendar.
Hey, Katie.
And be consistent.
Yeah. Katie, you put in there that you're doing this in your newsletter and you're getting good engagement. What have you experienced?
Yeah. I always put a little blip, just a brief personal, letter to our clients, and I include a little market update at the end, but I'm always talking about, our travels or the kids or my husband or, what I'm up to hiking or whatever. And we get a ton of engagement. And I think it's just another way to connect when you do bump into someone and chat with them. And I try to always ask questions in that too. And people literally will reply back to our email newsletter and answer my questions from the letter of the heart. Like, what traveling do you have planned this year? Or, just those little ways to connect. So that's been a good way to connect with past clients. And we just started implementing a monthly newsletter this past year, and it's been awesome.
Awesome. And honestly, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna switch up the cadence of I'll put letter at the top. People probably care more about that versus the real estate facts you're gonna throw in. But I think if you start there, I would maybe do that, and start something personal, because past clients and whatever, now you're on a personal level, so they'll probably be more curious about your life versus you might have that 1% who's looking to sell that next second. But I think switch it up, make them kind of engaged right away. I think it'd be better hook something about yourself versus right away, here's new listings that I hit Twin Cities market in the last, and you can of course add that, but I think still don't forget to elaborate on that and what that means to them. So
People are nosy. They like to know about you. That's why the National Enquirer and the People magazines were so popular. Now we have Facebook, but that'd be the first thing I'd read too, if I to get a little like info on my insurance guy or whatever.
I think if you come out with the notion of being just human, right, and just being normal and not a salesperson, people are more likely gonna interact back with you, So we do something called our 32 touch campaign, where we have like a newsletter, we have text campaigns, email campaigns, and a lot of it, guys, is just, happy holidays, Christmas, the 6 holidays and stuff like that. Something for you guys to check into is called living in here. It's almost very similar to HomeBot, but it's more subtle than HomeBot. It gives home evaluations that comes in, but it's a lot more dynamic and stuff like that. Every single time somebody clicks on it, it gives home evaluations for them too as well. But it's not so like in your face like HomeBot is. HomeBot is just generic of, hey, this is your home evaluation. This actually gives them updates, plumber updates, vendor updates, everything like that that you can imagine. And it's actually a fraction of the price of HomeBot. So we've been implementing that on our thing. If you're sending out postcards, make sure that if you're doing postcards, that they're not going to take your postcards and just throw them away. So when we do postcards, we do like recipes, cocktails, and stuff like that. Something that they're gonna keep on the refrigerator for a certain amount of time. If you're sending out a postcard and you're sending it out of your brand new listing, they don't care if they're not shopping. They're just gonna take it and go. One of the biggest success that I had in my early career was the value of referrals. So what I did was I hit a lot of my big alphas. Okay. A lot of, when you're going into a tribe, there's usually one alpha that stands out from there. Right. If you get into and if you connect with that one alpha, they're going to be kind of the determination of, hey, am I going to refer you over to all of my tribe or not? So, and a lot of those guys were business owners. What I did was, especially if I had a listing, I would call them and say, hey, you know what? I have a listing in your particular neighborhood. It's a restaurant that you own. What I'm going to do is I'm going to present my listing over 300-400 houses, but I want to be able to partner up with you and stick your restaurant on the back of the postcard. Is there an appetizer or something that you can give me that's the consumer? And that restaurant owner is going to come back and say, you're willing to do this for me for free? I'm like, yeah, we're friends. This is what friends do with one another. We help each other grow our business, right? That started my circle of kind of getting into, a lot of the big alphas, mechanic shops, restaurants, nail shops, stuff like that. And so we partner up behind the scenes. I would send out a listing or a listing from my team, have their coupon or have their business on the back of the postcard, and I spread the word that way. So They didn't have to do a single thing. I made that warm introduction with them to do that. Another technique that one of my agents did was, um, what was it? It was mats for restaurants. You know, when somebody comes in, we actually made those coloring books and made those things for kids to draw on. It was our branding. So how many people touch that and how many people see that? That was amazing for that agent, and she grew her business that way too, as well. So if you come off not thinking about the ROI and just the value that you're gonna give to that buyer or that seller, it's a huge impact for them. Without even asking for that referral, they're automatically just gonna send it over to you. Then the
Yeah,
next thing
hey,
was, yep.
can I ask a quick question on that local vendor thing? Because I think that's a genius idea. You were doing it for just so like forever. You're saying that you'd have a listing, and then let's say
Mhm.
there was a restaurant like really close to that listing, you'd
Yep.
partner with them and say, hey, let's send out a postcard with a coupon. It'll be like just listed on one side and the coupon on the other, or something like that. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if you don't have that
That's cool.
relationship, guys, how cool would it be for you to walk into a restaurant and say, "Hey, I got a cool listing that's coming in your particular neighborhood. Do you want to advertise with me?" Guess what? You're sending out the postcards already. Okay? That's on your money. Now, if you walked into a business owner and said, "Hey, I'm gonna take care of this for you because I wanna just be your friend in this," they're gonna be like, "Absolutely." In this.
Did they help pay, or did you do a help pay for it kind of thing? Did you guys split it or no?
I
Or
didn't ask for any money.
oh,
I
you just
never
said
asked.
toss it.
Because,
Okay.
yeah, because guess what? I was spending the money already on the postcards. All this was for my technique to build that relationship with that business owner. That's all it was. Because that money was already spent, guys. Keep in mind, most of the time, it was my face, the house, and everything like that was on it. That money was already gone. Okay. Now I get to find a new referral partner to put on that back of that business card. So, yeah. So,
I
and
love it.
early into the career, I can tell you, it feels awkward and it feels weird asking for the business. Like as a team, 98% of our business is all referral and sphere business. Ask for the business. You know, the perfect time to get somebody to ask for the business is not when you close on the offer. It's when you get the offer accepted. When you get the offer accepted is when they're most excited. Okay. Damien, I saw that phone call that you did on social media the other day when you had your clients, when you were calling them and they were like thanking you up and down and all the way around. Ask for the business. That's the best time to do it. So,
No, for sure. And what we actually did is like with that thought, we use Sisu, and for those who are at EXP, it's free to you, by the way. But we started creating, again, I like systems and I like to, so what I'm doing now is after we get offer accepted, I will have, we're going to ask for the referral during that time, and I'll have, and then we're going to have another touch point is during appraisal. When the appraisal gets, we're going to ask for a review. And again, those are happy moments. So when you're touching base with them, the other thing we're also adding is, and that's where I'm like, okay, I gotta, I have a full-time assistant. Like I gotta, give her a little bit more to work on. So what we're gonna do is when she calls after offers accepted, she's gonna say, hey, we're putting together a little package for you, kind of about what's nearby, grocery stores and things like that. So it's gonna be a nice value touch point. And ask them, is there specific something you want to know about your area that we can kind of dig into? And then we have like a template that we follow that shows nearby like schools, nearby grocery stores, coffee shops, and just plug in one or two for each section. But when you think about it, like the other speaker, the unapologetic, what I don't remember where it was at EXPCon about the restaurant guy, and he just talked about like make it such an amazing experience that they can't, that they want to refer you business. So I thought about, okay, what can I plug in throughout transaction that actually value to them? And one of them is going to be, again, that little packet that they can say, hey, this is great. And then another one, be at closing, with moments of delight. Maybe it's a gift card that after offers accepted at the restaurant nearby, $50 that they can go and get dinner and celebrate, right? So those are little things too. You can like create that experience at low cost. I don't really do closing gifts anymore, but I have them on Client Giant, which is quarterly. Like you can pick who you get, and quarterly they get gifts. But I don't know. That's just a few things I just want to add on as far as like creating that, asking for referrals, where you're creating like a really enjoyable experience.
One thing I'd
So-
like to add too, I'm gonna tie back in the VIP event that we do. I'm not afraid to just be shameless and say, you guys, the reason you're here is because you are my raving fans, and I love that, and we want to thank you for that. And you're the people that help us build our business and help families get into homes. And so we count on you to continue to refer us. And I mean, I just put it out there. I'm counting on you guys to continue to do that, right? So don't be afraid to just be vulnerable too and say, you're a very important part of our business, and we want to continue that relationship.
Awesome. Guys, I thought it would have been a great call. There'll be a recording if you want to go back. Next week topics, I don't know, Joey, you know what they are, and share them, and we'll kind of wrap up the call. Hope you guys have an amazing week
Hey,
ahead.
Damien, can I just add in one piggyback thing? And I'm just
Sure.
going to circle back to Viet saying being human, in this business, because I think that's so important, especially in our times. We have a lot of people out there that are hurting. And I'm going to give kudos maybe to Damien and Kelly, because I'm just going to share one of my experiences, is both of them at one time had sent me a video message. And so when you pull back what Joey said about complimenting, consoling, or congratulating, or expressing gratitude, these were some of the most memorable messages of video message that I've ever received. So if you think and pull in that human side, think of those 3 C's and actually just took the time to send a little video message to someone, I guarantee you're going to impact their day, because they blessed me so much when they did that for me. So that's all I wanted to share there.
I love that.
Great idea. Awesome. Joey, you want to share the topics? And
Yeah,
Angela,
so next week,
I'm so happy we made you happy, Angela. That means a lot. So, but
No,
the
that's
point
so
is, send the videos. But yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I love that. No, yeah, so I posted it in the chat. We're going to talk about social media stuff, acquiring leads through social, and then effective neighborhood farming techniques. Whoever's doing that, love to chime in on that. And then the classic how to handle price reduction conversations with clients. The juicy, that'll get real juicy. So that'll be a good one. I'm excited.
All right, good. Yeah,
Just
thanks
do
for
a
everyone who
quick
came up.
Shout out.
Go ahead.
I want to thank Joey for the inspiration to door knock. I had a new listing last Friday. Went and door knocked the neighborhood. It's a 25-year-old neighborhood and lots of people who've lived there forever, 27 homes, and ran around and then had a quick little neighborhood open house, pre-public open house, and had great success, met all kinds of neighbors there. I think I had 9 different neighbors that came in. So thank you, Joey.
That's awesome, Cheryl. Love that. Yeah.
Way
see?
to take action. Way to take action. And sometimes
Hey,
it's a
Damien.
simple thought that leads to that. Yep, go ahead, Matt.
I got a question regarding the referral. I was wondering, what do you guys do to, I don't know if train is the right word, but train your sphere or people that you communicate with in terms of how to refer people to you. Like I had recently a scenario when a guy told me, "Oh yeah, my son is he's trying to buy real estate." I told him about you, but then I felt like I was totally out of control how to try to reach to that referral, or is it actually a referral? But they had communicated back there. But
Yeah.
how do you guys go about like teaching them how to do that, how to properly refer you so you can follow up?
I mean, that's a tough one. Maybe somebody else can chime in. But my first thought, if whenever that, the dad said he has a son, that might be looking, I would say, hey, do you mind sharing his contact info? I want to reach out personally, introduce myself. I also might have a couple of really great resources for him, just as he's kind of figuring things out. Again, it's not pushy, and a lot of them can say yes. I would say 80% probably will say, yeah, no problem. And then you can start the follow-up or try to schedule that meeting. As far as prepping them how to refer. I don't know. I've never done prepping. I just kind of say, hey, I'd appreciate any referrals, send them my way. And usually, again, it's that kind of conversation that starts, hey, I have a brother that's looking. And a lot of times they might not make the direct connection. They might say he's maybe next year thinking. I right away ask, hey, well, can I connect with them sooner, just to hear a little bit more about their situation, their goals. And again, just I think getting that number is key. And then from there, taking it over. Otherwise, you just kind of, it's leaving up to chance.
I'm prepping them for the referral. I don't know where I learned it, so I'm stealing this from someone, but during the transaction is such a great time, but you just ask them, like, I mean, I can't remember how the line went, but it was something to the effect of, and this is specifically during you're working with someone. So it's your listing or buyer, and the conversation piece is like, hey, you know what? I know you're when you're selling your house or buying a house, like you probably are talking to tons of friends and family about the transaction. So like, just keep in mind if there's anybody love to chat with them as well, because that's usually when they're talking about real estate the most, is when they're selling their house. Because what are they doing? They're complaining about showings, or they're excited about the offers, or whatever. They're talking to everybody and anybody about the process, and so like, just ask them, like, hey, are you talking to anybody about it right now? Is there anyone else that's moved? It's kind of just a way to prime it. And then I agree with you, Damien. Like, as soon as somebody says anything like, oh, I brought your name up to so-and-so, it's like, hey, cool. Do you think it's cool if I reach out to him? I mean, you just can just like say it like real chill. Like, is it cool if I just like reach out to them? Because if you don't give me their number, I'm going to totally Facebook stalk them and reach out to them anyways. No, I'm just kidding. But so you gotta ask for that info, because you don't want to rely on them reaching out to you. I think that's key.
But this is the importance also, you guys, of staying in touch, right? Even if they don't know anybody at the time of the closing and their son's not ready to buy, and maybe that's 8 months later, you always staying in touch with your past clients, right? It's that whole 30 plus, however many touches you want to do, so that you're staying top of mind and you're the person they are thinking of when someone's looking to buy or sell.
Huge.
And I think a good topic maybe to add, I don't know if anybody's keeping notes, Joey, seems like you are, maybe it's asking for referral scripts, like lines. What do you say? When do you say it? Just as if somebody can get a one line that you can simply, when offers accepted. I mean, I know Tom Ferry has like a line, hey, congrats, I know you're super excited. I'm sure you're talking to a lot of people right now about your move. Is there anybody, and we love to work with great people just like you, is there anybody that maybe you're talking to right now who's in the same position that we could help? And you wait, right? But then at least then you can put that thought, if they say, no, not right now, great. Well, please keep me top of mind. My biggest blessings to send maybe some referrals, right? Like, but I think there's multiple at closing. There's a lot of little interesting things you can ask. But yeah, I think it's just not being afraid to ask. Just ask, hey, my business grows from referrals. Like, if you can just send one person this year, it will make a difference. Then it's going to be top of mind. I've had it where people didn't even think about it. And they don't just, I don't know. People wired differently. Some might want to support you every way, but some might just forget. And we're not that important after all. So, all right, guys, I gotta run. I think we got pretty good info on this, and then next week is gonna be another great, I think great topics that I think a lot of people can tap into. So, you guys invite friends. Invite if you have anybody who could benefit from this. Maybe it's people you're working with. Let's keep growing this, because then we'll get more. Of course, conversations, different topics as well. But just keep invite 1 or 2 people for next call, and let's keep this consistent.
Sounds good.
Thanks
guys.
for coordinating this.
All right, guys, have a great week. All right, take care.
Peace out.